All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about one of the most powerful and honestly, one of the most misunderstood tools in the entire world of business. It's what makes massive billion-dollar deals even possible. We are demystifying the bank guarantee. So, just for a second, picture this. You're in charge. Your city has just greenlit a huge legacy-defining project, a brand new international airport. This is the kind of thing that could define your entire career, not to mention the future of your city. So you've picked your contractor, but now the real worry sets in. I mean, this is a multi-year, billion-dollar monster of a project. How can you be sure they'll actually see it through? That they'll finish on time, on budget? A simple contract and a handshake, it just doesn't feel like enough, does it? This is the core problem we're going to solve today. The fundamental issue of trust, when the risk is sky high. And this isn't some small hurdle. It's what I call the billion-dollar trust problem. Because when the stakes get this big, you need something way more solid than just a promise written on paper. A regular contract, sure, it tells you what's supposed to happen. But what if it doesn't? What if the contractor just fails? You're left scrambling. What you really need is a financial safety net, an ironclad promise you can cash in, no arguments, to keep your project from falling apart. And that brings us to the solution. And it doesn't come from the contractor, not directly anyway. It comes from their bank. This is the bank's ironclad promise. Okay, so here's the textbook definition. At its heart, a bank guarantee is the bank making a formal promise. They're essentially saying, hey, if our customer, the contractor, doesn't hold up their end of the deal with you, we will pay you a specific amount of money. The bank literally steps in and shoulders the financial risk. Now, the whole system really just boils down to three key players. First, you've got the applicant. That's our contractor. They're the one asking their bank for the guarantee. Then you have the bank, who looks at the contractor's finances and agrees to issue that promise. And finally, there's the beneficiary. That's you, the city, who gets to hold on to this guarantee as your ultimate safety net. But here's the thing. This isn't just for building massive airports. Bank guarantees are incredibly versatile. There's a flavor of guarantee out there for almost any kind of deal you can imagine. For example, the performance guarantee, that's exactly our airport scenario. It makes sure the job gets done. But say you pay a supplier a 20% advance payment. Well, an advance payment guarantee makes sure you get that cash back if they never deliver the goods. And bid bonds? They're used in tendering to make sure that the company who wins the bid is actually serious and won't just walk away. Okay, but listen, this is where it gets really critical. The real power of a bank guarantee isn't just that it exists, it's in these specific words, the legal clauses. The fine print is everything. Just look at this phrase. This right here is the heart and soul of a strong, unconditional guarantee, without demur or protest. That's just fancy legal talk for without any argument or objection. Think about how powerful that is. So let's translate that into plain English. It means one simple, brutal thing. The bank pays first and asks questions later. They don't get involved in the fight between you and the contractor. They just check the demand letter, and if it's correct, they pay. Period. And that brings us to the two big categories. On one side, you have unconditional guarantees, the pay first, ask questions later kind. This is obviously what beneficiaries want. On the other side, you have conditional guarantees. Here, the bank will only pay if the beneficiary can prove certain conditions have been met. Naturally, this is what the applicants, the contractors, would much rather have. A lot of contract negotiation is spent fighting over which type it's going to be. So what happens when it all goes wrong? When that trust is broken and the safety net is actually needed? We've come to the most intense moment in a guarantee's life, when that promise is called in. This is called invocation. The whole process is designed to be fast and formal. It starts with a default. The contractor messes up. Step 2, invocation. The beneficiary sends a formal demand to the bank. Step 3 is crucial. The bank doesn't investigate the project. They just examine the demand letter to see if it follows the rules. And if it does, step 4 is payment. The bank has to pay. And how fast are we talking? Well, under a common set of international rules, the bank has just 5 business days to pay up after they get a valid claim. 5. That's it. That shows you just how serious and automatic this whole obligation is. Now, this all sounds amazing if you're the one holding the guarantee, right? But flip the script. What if you're the contractor? Having your guarantee called on is a financial disaster, and it can wreck your reputation. So if you think the claim is totally unfair, can you do anything? Can a guarantee be stopped? Well, here's the cold, hard truth. The law views the guarantee as its own separate, independent contract. It's totally detached from the main construction project. And because of that, courts are extremely hesitant to get in the middle of it. They almost never interfere to stop a payment. The bar for getting a court to step in and stop a payment to issue an injunction is astronomically high. You can't just go to a judge and say, we have a disagreement. You have to prove something truly exceptional, like clear, undeniable fraud that the bank knows about, or that payment would cause some kind of irretrievable injustice. These things are incredibly rare to prove. So at the end of the day, that's the real nature of this thing. For one party, it's the ultimate safety net, a guarantee that a promise will be honored no matter what. But for the other party, if things go south, it can feel like a locked cage with no way out. It's a safety net for one and a locked cage for another. The question is, which side of the guarantee are you on?